I'm just about to muck out a shaving spread. So first I'm just going to talk about my fixtures and fittings and what tools I'm going to use and the bit of the yard design. So for a shaving spread I've got a shaving fork, I've also got a shovel and a yard brush and obviously a wheelbarrow. I'm going to be doing a full muck out today, but before I start that I'm just going to come and have a quick talk through some of my fixtures and fittings. So in this stable I've got a tie ring without a piece of string for my hay net. Before I start my muck out I'm going to actually take the hay net down. In the corner I've got a piece of baling twine that's not a full piece of baling twine. It's quite a thin piece which is best so that the horse can actually pull, if pulled back, the baling twine will break. Sometimes with a big heft of baling twine, even when the horse pulls back, you're more likely to break a head collar than the actual baling twine. These stables here are made out of hardwood and metal bars. Lots of pros and cons to this. So the horses can actually see each other throughout the yard, which is great for their natural instincts, so that they can communicate and make sure that they feel like a bit more of a herd. So in this barn we've actually American barn stabling, which means that they're all under one roof, which has its pros and cons again. So the horses can all see each other. On really cold or wet days we can still tie them up outside of their stables and muck them out without them being in here, which is a real bonus. But actually they're sharing airspace, we need to make sure that the ventilation is really good. So in these stables we've got big double doors at the end and big double doors around the side. And in an ideal world, the hot air would rise and go out to the roof cowls at the top. And the clean fresh air would be drawn in from the side through the slats and through the end doors. So there's always a constant supply of fresh air going up and through. One of the downsides to the American barn stabling is that if one of the horses catches a virus such as strangles or the flu or something that's quite contagious, it can quite quickly spread if it's airborne through your whole yard, which is why it's really important to have really good isolation. Think about isolation if this is your type of stabling. So just coming back to what our stables are made of. So metal at the top, so really great that the horses can see each other. If your horse doesn't particularly enjoy looking at its neighbour, these can be quite dangerous though, because horses sometimes charge at these and they'll might bare their teeth, and I've actually witnessed a horse get its jaw stuck. So you need to be mindful of if it doesn't enjoy the company of its neighbour and you can't move either one of those horses, then you might want to put a board over the top of those, which is what these ones are here. Hardwood is really great. Again, it's quite versatile. You do have some maintenance with it. You have to look after them. It can rot over time if they get wet, and the horses can chew it. However, hardwood is pretty hard, and panels are relatively easy to replace. Unlike brick or breeze block, where if the horse kicks it, you're going to end up more likely damaging themselves, and it's quite difficult for maintenance-wise to replace them. You'd have to get a professional in. So again, in our stabling, we've got strip lighting all the way through. Again, pros and cons because it really gives a lot of bright light. However, if you've got a mare and foal on your yard, or a mare that's going to foal, or one sick horse, you will disturb the whole of the yard when you turn out all of the lights at once, rather than individual lighting. So that's something again to think about. So if you are a stud yard, it might be beneficial to have individual lights. The size of the stables, I could do a rough guess, so I know that my strides are around 3 foot, so I can 3, 6, 9, 12, so I'd say it's probably 12 across by roughly 3, 6, 9, 12, so it's a standard 12 by 12 stable, so a good size for a horse that's roughly 16 plus, 15 plus. And upwards. If you had a big hunter horse or anything that was a larger horse, you'd want a larger stable. Again, if you had a small pony like a Shetland, probably not ideal in a large stable like this. The smaller they get, the cheekier they are, and it give that horse or pony more room to evade being caught and things like that, so they probably get a bit too much speed. So in an ideal world, you'd probably bring those kind of ponies down to 10 by 10. And again, and mare and foal stables, I'd want to up it to 14 by 14 upwards. So anything else in my fixtures and fittings? So we've got a water bucket system in this stable. Some of the others have automatic waterers. Again, pros and cons. Water buckets are labour intense. You have to take them to the tap, you have to fill them up, you have to sometimes get help carrying them, so on. But on the pros, you can regulate how much that horse is drinking. Really great if you've got a new horse to the yard, you want to monitor how much water it is, or horses that are drinking a lot. They might have a health condition, such as Cushing's, when they drink a lot of water and urinate a lot. So you might want to monitor those things. Say downsides, they're quite labour intensive. The alternative is automatic water feeders. Again, some of these stables have those. Pros and cons, a little bit less labour intense. They are a little bit trickier to clean out. And then horses tend to rub their bums on them. If they're at the back of the stable, they can roll and hit them. And when you're mucking out as you're at the back of the stable, you also tend to get a lot of bedding in. When the weather gets cold like it is at the moment, so we're in December now, they can freeze, the pipes can freeze. When water freezes, it expands, and then when those pipes start to thaw out, the connections have been expanded, and then they tend to burst, and you get a very wet stable. Is there anything else that you can think of around fixtures and fittings?